Welcome you all to the course workshop 19ME103. Today we are discussing about the overall view of the engineering materials and various applications. So we have discussed all these things in this lecture. In the earlier lecture, we have given introduction about the importance of this workshop, course, and the importance of the engineering material. And today we are discussing about very briefly on the engineering materials. Here we are talking about only two categories of materials, particularly in the category of metals. Those are ferrous and non-ferrous. The main output of this lecture is you will definitely identify what are the materials or what are the metals belongs to ferrous and what are the non-ferrous, and what are its properties and what are its application. So this is the outcome for this today lecture. First of all, metals. Here, before we start the lecture here, I am raising a question, that is, you just list out what are the metals as of you know. Here it is not a new thing. Everyone knows so many metals. In your daily life, you will come across and you are using for various applications. I can say in this way, without a metal, it is very difficult to find the human life survivability. Every day, we are using different types of different categories of the materials. Here I am asking about metals only. What are the metals you know as of now? You just list out. Once after the completion of this lecture, you will find a much more and moreover a variety of metals which are come in your regular and daily life, where you can see, where you are using, where you are touch and physically existing of these metals, you can see that one. But here, as per the lecture, I am restricting here myself. I am talking only about the two categories, the ferrous and non-ferrous. This today lecture, one more time, I am reminding you, this is giving the overall view of the metals which comes under the ferrous and non-ferrous category. What are its properties and what are its application. So these things we are discussing from this lecture. Once you are completing about this, what are the metals you are listed out, now you may check it out how much you are good about these things. So first of all, the metals as per engineering point of view here, they are categorized in two types, for ferrous and non-ferrous. What do you mean by ferrous? I can see in this way. Ferrous is nothing but an iron element. Where I can say, in a material, the iron element is the maximum amount of percentage is the contribution. A material is a combination of so many elements. The iron, which is a chemical name ferrous, the ferrous is also one of the element. When I say about a material combination, a material is a combination of so many elements. In among the elements, if iron is present maximum percentage, all these category of materials are called as ferrous material. Non-ferrous means the iron content in that material is less. So we are talking about the ferrous, that means iron is the maximum amount. Maximum means you may think like as it is about 90%. About 90%. That means about 95 or 98% of element contribution is itself as iron. Then that group of materials we call as iron or ferrous materials. Non-ferrous means the percentage contribution is less than 50%, or it is less than, even it may be 2% or 3% or 1% or maybe 0%. All these comes under the category of non-ferrous metals. Is simply what we are talking and what we are discussing. The earlier lecture we shown about the classification of the engineering materials in one way. Now here we check it out one more time. The entire list. That means after completion of this first unit, I am expecting each and everyone have a minimum and a basic idea about what are these elements, what are the materials that they listed here, what group it was categorized, where we have to use, what are its applications. And moreover, these things and these materials is not only restricted about in a particular course. In the life being, everything have come to you. It's not end with it simply in a first year point of view. It is requirement every engineer and every graduate have to know the basic knowledge on these materials. And that is the one of the reason this course, or I can say this topic, was introducing for our group of engineering practice. Now in this group, what is there? It is the metals are there and ferrous and non-ferrous. In the metals, which is comes under the pure ferrous, which is there iron, as mentioned already. Non-ferrous, in engineering point of view, the non-ferrous based on the carbon percentage, it was categorized into two types: steels and cast irons. Generally, most of the time you use this word steels or stainless steels or steel rod, which is a very hard material. Yes, steel is a very hard material, and here we will talk much more about, particularly about the steels itself. What are the steel materials, how it will be manufactured, what are its properties, how it has a properties superior than any other material, how it is exists. All these things we will discuss in the next coming classes. Here we are just categorizing about what are the materials we are going to read. And here it is only giving the overview of these categories. Next lecture we will talk about much more about the steels and the cast irons. So here in the coming to the non-ferrous material, they are categorized like as so many things, like as pure non-ferrous and non-ferrous alloys. And here we will talk about alloys also. What is alloy? How many types are? What are the alloys we are given the importance in the engineering aspects, and those things only we are talking about here, and those are listed like as a brass, bronze and silver. And other non-ferrous materials like as a copper, aluminium, zinc, tin, lead, silver, gold, mercury, magnesium and etc. These materials were concentrated here. And only the basic idea we are dealing here or how it is exists. These materials we will study in this course. So here we are showing about the two pictures. You just concentrate and pay attention to watch the differences. One is about the rusting, another one is about the magnetism. Of course, these two comes under these ferrous materials only. But the question rises here: why is the material will form as a rust? Why is the material has a property about attraction of iron particles, which is called as a magnetism? How it is happened? So these things we will also discuss in this course, but here as an introductory topic and moreover overview of the entire unit. So here I am addressing and raising questions through this lecture. And after completion of this first unit, definitely you are able to address the questions what I was raised now. Why it is formed rust, why it is formed as magnet. What is when made rust, and how could you avoid, and how could you overcome from these difficulties and drawbacks. First of all, we will talk about here the ferrous metals. What I was mentioned here earlier, the ferrous material, the iron, is a major contribution, and the less percentage of will contribute by the other elements. So whenever I talk about iron, we know about the properties that we studied from in the 12th standard and 10th standards, which is a soft and ductile nature. And it is very easy to form about the rust. Very easy to form the rust. Rust is nothing but the chemical reactions happen about the iron material and when it reacts with the water particles. So that means whenever the iron is there, you just simply exposed into the environment, what will happen? This metal surface reacts with the environment, whatever air particles or water particles are there, and water vapor is there. So whenever the chemical reaction happens, the rust, which is called rust, will be happen on the top surfaces, and it will gradually grow, and it makes about the peak of the part. The rust is nothing but formation of iron oxide. Formation of iron oxide. So the iron and oxygen which is there in the water particle is reacts, and iron oxide will form, and that iron oxide is nothing but a rust. Here one question we are raising here, that is, iron is soft and easy to form the rust due to reacting with the environment which is existing about the water particles. But steel comes under the category of that one, where iron is the more amount of percentage is there, but how the steel are strong. So these things we will address in this maybe in the next lecture. Today lecture we are giving overview of all these materials. Metals particularly comes under ferrous and non-ferrous. So it is much interesting. So for that one you have to wait for one more lecture. And from this course and from this particular in this unit, we will discuss about the ferrous materials which comes under mild steel, cast iron, high carbon steel, high speed steel and stainless steels. Only these categories only we are talking, and these are compulsory and everybody have to learn what are these things or what are these materials and what are its properties. In engineering point of view, or particularly in the steels, there are more than 1,000 variety combinations are available in case of steels alone. But here we are paying an attention about learning about these 5 categories only. So before going to the non-ferrous, we will go through this one, each category, what is that and where it is applicable and what are its application. Simply what you are seeing here in next coming slides will be followed like this way. In each category and each type of metal we are showing about, and this slide is related to the mild steel. We are talking about what type of metal and its nature, property, where we are using, and finally at the right side we are talking about what is its melting point. This is the basic idea, and whatever these pictures will be there, these are related to those categories, the applications. One by one we will go through. The first one, what you are seeing about here, the mild steel comes under the category of ferrous material. The mild steel, which is the purest form of steel that we call one, and moreover, it is the carbon content is very, very less. So first of all, I want to differentiate about steels and cast iron. Only one word I will add, and after that we will talk about these things. So steels and cast iron, what is the main difference is itself as a carbon percentage. Carbon percentage. If the carbon percentage is up to 2.1% is mixed with the iron, that means the rest of the composition is iron only. That means you may think about 97 to 98% is the iron, and up to 2 or 2.1% of carbon is mixed. Those material combination we call as steel. Whereas cast iron, the carbon percentage is about 2% to 6.67%. 6.67. That means the carbon plays a vital role in the formation of the metals as steels and the cast irons when it mixes with the iron. In case of cast irons, it is a availability 2.1 to 6.67%. So when you think about if the more than 6.7% or maybe 7% of carbon, 10% of carbon, if we mix with the iron, what will happen? So here there is not such a materials will not exist, and moreover even in the 6.67% of carbon is there, but in an engineering point of view, the commercial usage of cast iron materials having only the percentage of 4.5% of carbon only we are using. That means When you adding more amount of carbon in the iron, the real applications of that material you can't find anywhere. There is no use. You can't find what is a suitable application of that material. Now, in steel materials we are talking, in the first steel, first of all is the mild steel. So we'll talk about these things much more detail further, but we'll just pay some attention towards what we are doing. In mild steel, which is a ductile and malleable metal, why? Because the more amount of carbon is presented, which is a soft and ductile, and the carbon percentage is much less, it is 0.2 to 0.3 percentage, and it is very easy to form the rust. Here, what are the structures we are seeing here? It is a very easy and manufacturable about to convert into different shapes. And don't we think like this way, what are the nuts and screws, what you are using and what you are observing, always all these things are made up of mild steel means it's not like that. Some metals and some screws, some nuts we are using and we prepare with the help of another strongest materials also. But mild steel is recommendable about the manufacturing of these things. Why? Because it is a ductile, we can make it into different structures. What was the gates we are seeing about, or what are the structure, the framing of the automobile. Nowadays we are using about the composite materials and some category like as aluminium we are using. Pure alone mild steel we are not using, but only in various positions, various places only in a car part or frame we are using. If you want to make that structure, the material has a good ductile property. Now the question will be raised, what is one ductile property? So here in this first unit course, the entire unit is divided, already I mentioned, is two parts. One is about talking about the metals and materials, another one is about the properties. So we are talking about the metals here, the property will comes once again, what is those things. The next category of metal, we are talking about the cast iron. The cast iron. So we are not deal about here what are the different types of cast irons, what are its character, what are its properties, what is its microstructure, but only in its understanding of one single word, that is the more amount of carbon is present, that is 2.1 to 6.67%. In this, and this category, which is called is a very strong and it is a very high compressive strength and it has a brittle in nature. Brittle in nature. So the two properties we are addressing here, in the case of mild steel, we have mentioned about it has a ductile property, whereas here in the cast iron it has a brittle property. What it means ductile means, when you apply the load, the material is capable to deform like as a thin metal wires. Whereas we are simply saying, talking about brittleness, whenever you apply the force, the material is not capable to vary about that load, it simply breaks. The best example to understand about the brittleness means, just look at about your glass windows. Whenever you hit with a stone or when you hit with the glass, with any other bat or any other thing, the glass will break. There is no deformation, all of a sudden it breaks into small pieces. There is no ductility. It is simply because of nature of brittle, it breaks like that. So that brittleness exists in the case of cast iron materials. And it is mostly used in the case of brake disc, in car cylinders, metal works and vice bench. So here if you observe, the first picture is about the braking system, the next one is about the engine block. In engine block, mostly we have seen about this one in automobile, four-wheel automobiles. The engine where the piston and cylinder will be moved, this engine block is made up of a cast iron. Of course, by using the casting mode, we are manufacturing about these things. And if you observe the vice bench is there, where in the workshop also we are using to hold the work part. The vice bench is nothing but whenever you are handling about any metals or work part which are very small in size, you are just keeping in that metal vice bench. It is like as a jar. It holds whenever you rotate the lever. So these are the applications where we are using about the cast iron, and here the melting point temperature is 1200 degrees centigrade. So we'll go through from next one just about high carbon steels. So before reading about the description of all these things, just observe the pictures. So many pictures are there, and all these pictures are comes under chisels and hammers, and these screwdrivers or some categories are there. You can see about this one. And these tools we are using in a real practice in workshop lab. We are using in the carpentry. We are using in the fitting. Here in the case of high carbon steels, why? Because whatever you are looking about, these are the tools. The tools must be stronger than the one part what we expected. So to achieve that one, this category of materials, what we call high carbon steels. And these are very hard. And why the hardness is improved? What is the reason? What will be the microstructure? We will talk about these things in the next coming classes. So here it is the carbon percentage up to only 1.5 percentage, whereas in the mild steel I said about 0.2 to 0.3 percentage. But here it is up to 1.5 percentage. So this is also a steel. The high carbon steels is a superior properties among the steels which are very strong and hard in nature. And its melting point is 1800 degrees centigrade, and you can see about these applications about the hand tools, screwdrivers and chisels, jars and springs. Chisels are nothing but wood working devices. The hammers, already familiar I think so. The chisels which you are using in the wood, and these chisels will talk much more. What are the chisels, how you have to use the various types of the chisels. We will talk about in the second unit in the carpentry. The next one is about high speed steel. These are high speed, nature of the application. If you observe these things, what you are seeing about the diagrams, it is related to the drill bits. In a drilling, to make a hole either in a wood or in a wall or in a metal, the drill bit we are using. The drill which is strong, and the piece and curvature you can see about like the same. To manufacturing about these things, we are recommended about high speed steels. It is about a content about high content of chromium and tungsten, vanadium. That means even in the steel also we can call it the alloy steel. Why? Because some other elements are adding, like as tungsten, vanadium, and like as chromium. Whenever these materials are added, the chromium, like as it is a carbide in nature, the carbide formation. Because of that one, it has become as very hard and strong. And these are used particularly in the drill bits, and its melting point is about 1400 degrees centigrade. And here, in this lecture, you don't just think about what are its properties, how it is manufactured, and all these things. But because it is a continuing process to learn. But in this lecture, whatever in the first slide you seen about all the combination of ferrous and non-ferrous, from this lecture I want to present about its real application and its melting point temperature, its small properties. The next one is about stainless steel. Yes, the stainless steel which is a much interesting, and moreover most of the time you will using these materials. Of course it is a costly one, but in the home appliances too, even in the case of aeroplane structure or maybe automobile structure, the stainless steel bodies we are using. When I say about the rust is firm, that to avoid the rust, the stainless steels we are using. Even sometimes in the advertisement also, in the TVs or somewhere you will find, particularly in the automobiles, they will mention the chromium domes we are using, the chromium opening doors, the chromium wheel head we are using. The chromium is not a rust formation, it is a steels, the chromium steels. So the chromium is a major part in the case of steel about the formation of the stainless steels. The percentage is maybe up to 22%, and some steels we call as the duplex steels and some other category where up to 28% of chromium also we can add it. So the chromium is differentiating about the existing of the steel material to the stainless steel material. So here we are just presenting about what are its applications. The kitchen applications or home appliances, or maybe the doctors what they are using about the tools, these we are using about stainless steel materials. So here teapot, cookware, surgical instruments, or we are using here in this one. And here typically the chromium we are using up to 18% and it has high corrosion resistance. Now here one more property we will underline here, the corrosiveness, which is a chemical property. So these things we'll talk about in the properties, but as of now we'll go for an application. Now, so in the first part we have completed, maintained the video, the 3 parts. The first part we have completed as of now. We talked about so far about the steel materials. In the steel materials, and we're talking about the 5 categories: mild steel, stainless steel, high carbon steel, and other things are called as a high speed steels. Here the questions are raised, and check it out whether you are capable or we know the answer about these things. What are the properties of the ferrous metal? And the second question is about what is the cast irons and where it is used. What is the good property requirement for the use of hammers for the high carbon steels? What is the good to make a cutlery of stainless steel, and a list of the applications like a stainless steel and high speed steels. So the thing is there, you just look it about once again and try to answer these things. The next thing we're talking about non-ferrous. So far we talk about the ferrous materials which are iron is the major contribution. Now we are not using iron as a major, we are using a different one. So here the list, the one picture where the collection of all the materials you see about like as bronze, copper, aluminium, brass and all these things. Here as from this lecture video we will try to concentrate about these things: aluminium, copper, zinc, tin, lead, silver, gold and magnesium. Now the first one is aluminium. The aluminium, most of the engineering applications we are using this aluminium, where in bicycles or in windows or ladder or aluminum sheets or some dishes or containers we are making. So just by looking at the application, you may be expecting you have to express its properties. Yes, aluminium has soft, it is shinish color, it is lightweight. All these are comes under the properties. All these are comes under the properties. The properties may be a physical property, or it may be mechanical, or electrical, or it may be chemical, or it may be in other categories. Here, by looking at the application, how we are using, how we have made, when the questions will rise, then definitely you are a key way to learning of all these things. What are the application? How only aluminum is recommendable for this application? Why not other materials? So these type of questions you have to rise and whenever you study. So first of all, coming to the aluminium, it tends to a light in color. I mentioned this one. It is a polished. Whenever it is polished, it is appear like as a mirror-like appearance, and it is very light in weight and used for the cooking coils, window frames, ladders, and bicycles. And its melting point is 660 degrees centigrade. Now we will go through another one, a copper. The copper one, which is a conductive material. It is a ductile and malleable in nature, which is most appearing like as in a red and brownish color. It is good conductor of electricity. So these are used in the plumbers and electrical components and cookware, and its melting point is 1084 degrees centigrade. So here, whenever you are talking here, just think about there is one more property is comes under about the malleability. I mentioned about ductile and brittle as generalized. Here one more time I will talk about the malleability. It is the ability of a material that can easy to form about thin plates. All materials are not possible to make about a wires or plates, but any material which are easy to form about the thin metal plates, then I can say that material has good malleability property. Good malleability property. So these things will talk properties much later, but here the copper, which you are much familiar to you, you will come across from various electrical wires by looking about and kettles and other things. And its melting point temperature is 1084 degrees centigrade. The next category is about the zinc. The zinc also mostly we are looking about those things. It has a very resistant to corrosion from the moisture, and however zinc is very weak metal. It is used mainly for the coating of the steels. It has a good corrosion resistance. That means whenever the steel materials or iron is there, the iron is easy to form the rust. So we are using some paints to avoid the rust formation. Instead of paint, the paint is nothing but a chemical composition. Instead of paints, we are using any other metal as surface coated layer. That is the thing, the zinc coated layer we are preferring. Here, these applications are already showing about here as a screwdrivers and buckets. Mostly we are using about these things. And here, particularly, we are restricting ourselves not to talk about the other examples. The examples what I am trying to show here, these are general, regular life where you can see about these things. And its melting point temperature is 419 degrees centigrade. Now, if you observe just few slides compared to the first starting onwards, the steel there is a high melting point temperatures, whereas in non-ferrous materials the melting point temperature is comparatively less. I can say half of the melting point temperature of the steels in case of non-ferrous. The next one is a tin, right? Mostly in a food application and a food groceries. When our packing point of view, we are using about this tin. It is very ductile and very malleable and is resistant to corrosion in the moisture. It is a bright in silver appearance, and is also used as a coating agent. It is mostly used as a food containers, beers, cans, and all those things. The food will not react with about this metal. Some metals will be there whenever the food is going to be reacts, then different composition, or sometimes it may become as a poison. But in case of tin, not happen. That is why the food is preferred about the packing, like as in the beverages or any other categories. We are using about this one, and its melting point is very less. It is about 231 degrees approximately. The next category is about the lead, which is a soft and malleable nature, and it is mostly used in the case of batteries, particularly in accident protection, and it is also used as a weighing of so many categories, like as what I was showing in the pictures, about like as a sealing agent, because it is appear like as a blue, whitish color, and its melting point is 327 degrees centigrade. Now, we will just be giving a small break here. So far, we are talking about the five materials: aluminium, and another one is about the zinc, copper, and tin and lead. So you just carefully check it out. Your answer about these things. So it is not about memorizing; it is about understanding about the metal and its applications. So here the questions will be there here. Name the non-ferrous metals used for the cooking parts. For cooking parts only. What are the non-ferrous metals? So you just name it. And name the metals what are using for the plumbing work. So here, whenever you are addressing about the question, you think about, okay, plumber. The plumbing work, water is exposing to the metal continuously for a long time period. When the water is exposed, what property we expected? Not to form any rust. So to avoid the rust, what type of pipes or what type of metals pipes were recommended? Just think about and mention. What is the metal used for the galvanized steel? Galvanized, the technical term we are adding is nothing but a zinc. When you have quoted about that one, we call it as a galvanized steel. A heavy metal is used in the batteries. What is that one? A counterweight, already I mentioned in the batteries. What type of that one? What is meant by tin plate? We try to address about these questions. Now we will go for the last part of this section, which is nothing but addressing and adding about few more non-ferrous metals. The first one is about the silver. The silver, the good conductor and highest conductivity of the metal among all the elements. It is a soft part and less transmission metal and is the highest electrical conductivity among all the metals I mentioned. It is a good and highest thermal conductivity also. So here the silvers which are using about making up which is called as a currency coins and reflective metals, and its melting point that is 961 degrees centigrade. Here my intention is, maybe you have seen about these examples, metal coils, shiny plates and these things, but we don't use or we don't know whether it is made up of silver. So those things you try to get it now from this. And not only that one, we will talk about much more about what are we are showing about ferrous and non-ferrous metals. One more time, we will talk about much detail about the metals. Much more detail. What its properties, what its nature, existing, application point of view, microstructural point of view, we will talk. In a primary point, we will talk about these things. Now, one of the non-ferrous materials, very familiar you, that is about gold. And gold is dense and shiny and malleable and ductile, and mostly what we think about the gold, we are using it like as a rings and like as we are using about the jewelry point of view. But the gold we are also using in the satellite, and also we are using about the in semiconductor and circuit boards also as a mining agent. Why you are using it? Because of its properties. It appears like as a brightest yellow color. It is not reacts with any water and all those things. Gold is attacked by individual acids also. Because of these reasons, we are using this one. Similarly, then we go for the magnesium. So here, you people are much enjoying about what you call as a crackers. So you think about why these are, whenever we are using about these crackers, it will appears like as a brightest colors, different colors. The thing is, the reason is very simple and very clear, that is, the magnesium is present in that one. The magnesium is a fairly strong and silver weighted and light weighted, but it is, when it is very exposed, it is transitions exposed to the air when it reacts with the environment. And it is a powder, in this metal heats, ignites, and it is exposed to and burns with white flames. And its melting point is 648 degrees centigrade. Right. So before we are closing the section here, we are talking about three more elements. That is three more metal elements. That is about the brass, bronze, silver. And these are not like an element. These are called as alloys. These are alloys. So a group of combinations are presented. The first one, the brass. The brass is a mixture of copper and zinc. And here, what are the applications you see about this one, the musical instruments, and it includes screws and nut, and plumbing joints. All these are made up of brass. The copper is the main element. Up to 70% will be there, and 30% will be the zinc will be presented. And it used for the water fitting, screws, radiator, musical instruments, and cartridge casting. The brass is strong and hard than copper, and you can find about these applications we are using about the brass. So we are not talking much because first of all we talk about non-ferrous material, much more properties. After that we'll talk. We're just showing about what are these applications part of. Similarly, bronze also, you just check it out, the bronze metal or bronze metal. We are seeing about this one. These are used about for the manufacturing of the ship propellers, and we are also used for the statues and medals. Its melting point temperature 950 degrees centigrade, and it is about a copper. It is also a copper alloy. But here in the brass, copper and zinc. But in the case of bronze, it is about the copper and tin combinations. And finally, it is about the solder. The solder element, which is soft and its melting point temperature is 200 degrees centigrade, and it is used for the electronic and plumbing and jewelry, and making about the repairing the process, about the joining and all these things. And it is a fusible metal alloy, and it joined together with the other metal parts very easily. That is why we are using about these. And here it is solder. It is a combination, or you can say it is an alloy of lead and tin combination. So here in this one, I am closing about my thing about presentation by raising some questions to you. And much more we will talk about brass, bronze, and copper, and other lead and solder elements. But it is giving about the primary, preliminary idea and applications and its basic properties. Now try to check it out. Try to answer these things. These are two metals which are used for the following: the brass, solder, and steel. What are its uses? Suggest one application of each alloy listed. And above what are the metal listed here, just mention what are its application. And identify the alloys used in the manufacturing objects which are showing here. So here we are showing about the two things. One is about the statue, another one is about the utility. So where we are using, and what type of metals we are recommended from these categories. And what are the last question? What are the table is given here, and what is its alloy name, and what are its properties? So try to address these things. So here, and before closing about this one, don't think about the existing of the metal. It is always only one type. It may be available, and you can convert and modify it in various shapes. It may be round, at sphere, at hexagon, at angle, at sphere hollow, hexagon hollow, in different shapes. It may be available, or it may be manufactured into different available of the shapes. The shapes are important. Why? Because in all these applications, the major thing is the shape, the structure, the appearance. So from the appearance, you don't think any metal you can make into like those things. What is requirement means its properties. The ductile property or malleability properties, these are the properties decides about the formation and conversion. And finally, here a realistic example through this picture. When I said about we are every time we will come back, every time we will be exposed to so many different type of metals. See here the cycling picture, it shows about the picture. Each component of the pi scale is made up of a different metal. Maybe we are not bothered what metal it is, but we are using the pi scale. We are taking the benefit from that one. But we just pay about 2 minutes in each category, in each location, what type of metal it is made. The brakes and levers we are using aluminium. And here the suspension springs are there, which is made of tensile steels and spring steel. The spring steel is a metal. Steel combination. Spring is a steel metal. The name itself as a spring steel. The spokes, which is made up of steel. And here the pedal, which is made up of aluminium, and the frame, wheel rings, which are made up of steels, gears, which are made up of brass bearings. So all these are examples. Your task, your job is whatever your materials were exposed, try to think what is that. Just raise a question, and definitely you will get the answer maybe now or later. Now here. So here, from this one picture, I am just summarizing about what we are talking about for the last 45 minutes. The metals, which comes under ferrous and non-ferrous, all categories of ferrous and non-ferrous. About, if you observe one side, we are showing about only about the steels, which comes under ferrous materials. Another side, we are showing about the non-ferrous. In the steels, it is about mild steel, cast iron, stainless steel, high speed, and spring steel, wrought iron. We will talk. Another category. We are using about the copper, aluminum, lead, brass, tin, zinc, and other. And what are you seeing about in between? It is about the existing of nature. Heat, water, open cast, and another one is an underground mine. So some importance is there about, but I will try to address these information in the next coming topic exclusively in the steels. Let's come to summary. So here. In a few minutes, I will go for summarize like this way. We will talk about the ferrous and non-ferrous materials. The ferrous, what are the metals we talk, and we address and we basic things, its application and its basic properties. We just list out about its melting point and its nature of existence. And from this lecture, we just identify about the 4 to 5 properties about the corrosioners, and another one is about ductile, brittle, and malleability. And thank you one and all for watching about this one. And if you have any questions and any queries, please contact me kpc_med@vignan.ac.in. Thank you for watching.